Hey everyone, Sycra here, and today I'm doing a speed painting of, well, I don't know, I don't know, but I know generally I want certain colors, like I want maybe, I don't know, purples or pinks or greens, yellows, maybe some blues. Is that all of them? I want it to be colorful. And the way I'm choosing colors and choosing everything in this is by intuition, and that's something I want to talk about. And I have to preface it by saying this is what works for me, and I have no idea if it would work for other people. I'm assuming it probably will for some people, but I don't know. So everything I'm going to say is just, what has helped me or what I've noticed. So with me, I'm very analytical, and it is bad for intuition because the analytical part of your mind wants to have rules and reasons for why things should be the way they are. And honestly, when I'm thinking a lot, it's very hard for me to make good choices, or I don't make good choices. And I kind of have to turn that off, and it's been a lot of work doing that. I started doing drawings in my sketchbook every day in this daily sketchbook thing that I don't show anyone, and I started that I think in 2003, 2002 maybe. And what I would try and do in those is strictly let myself draw purely using intuition. So I would just start moving my hand and letting whatever happen. So if I just look at the page, for instance, and I see a circle, then I put down a circle. I don't think. It's trying to do things before the thought comes in and interrupts you. So before I could say, wait, why do I want to put down a circle? Maybe I want to do a head or whatever. I'm not gonna try and let my thinking rational part of my brain get in the way and say maybe it's this or maybe it's that. But it's really difficult, especially at first. It's really difficult to not be, I guess, casting judgment on what you're doing. So when you put something down, it's hard to not say, well, maybe I want to do this, or I should do this, or that looks bad, and to instead just let your, I don't know if it's the unconscious or the subconscious or the right side of your brain or whatever it is, the creative unspoken part of your brain that is there, that the one that is responsible for making you dream, that one, I want to let that one take over, because I've had this thought, and I've had it for a long time now, and it's that we all, or again, let me bring it back to me, but I should be able to draw and paint anything, and it should look right. Now, that's a big should, and why do I say that I should? Well, because in my dreams, my brain's obviously creating worlds inhabited by people and buildings and everything. Everything looks very convincing. Now, it could be that I just think it looks convincing and really it doesn't. Or it could be that our brains, or my brain, whatever, knows how to make all this stuff. It knows how to make a face that looks right. So then why is it when you get down to painting or drawing, you cannot just draw a face properly, perfectly? Because technically the ability's there. So anyway, it was this thing where I feel like there's an unconscious part of the mind that knows how to make things look right. And then there's the rational part that you can teach formulas and, practice and learn, okay, this angle looks right, or start with a circle and then do a crosshair and all that stuff. Then there's that, and you want to combine those two. And I think drawing a lot really does sort of build a bridge between these two parts of your mind. And I've also used things like I listen to music to distract my thinking brain so that I can use more of my creative part of my brain. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with this image, is really relying purely on intuition. It's not so much trying to think of what things are or are not. Now, that's not to say that I was completely successful. Especially with things like, there was one part where I first put in the hair and I make it dark, and that's because my thinking brain got ahead and it's like, let's give her dark hair. That would look cool. And then as soon as I put it down, there's this feeling in your gut maybe, and it's just a little thing, but it's something that I've learned to pay attention to, because our creative part of our brain, it doesn't talk with words. It's not going to say, hey, don't do that. But what it does do is, for me anyway, it gives physical sensations, feelings that this is right or this is not right. And so I've really learned to pay attention to my body, to the point where I will, well, in this image, what I do is I put down colors sometimes and then I adjust it with the hue and saturation, or I'll put it down and then I will manually change the color. And what I'm doing when I put the color down is I'm not actually looking to see, is this color right or wrong? I kind of non-judgmentally look at the image, put down the color, and then wait to see what physical reaction I have inside that's like, ugh, or good. And I found there's really 3 physical reactions I get when I'm picking colors. One is, this feels wrong, this isn't good. The other is, this feels okay and comfortable. And that's the one I don't really want. It sounds strange, but I don't really want the comfortable one, because that one's oftentimes that's easy and it's safe and it's expected. But then there's a third feeling, which is like, I don't know. This is something. There's something here. And usually, what I'll do with the hue saturation slider, and what that is, it's in Photoshop. If you hit Control U, a panel comes up with 3 bars: hue, saturation, and lightness. Hue changes the color, like blue, red, green, whatever. Saturation changes the intensity of the color, like is this a very pure red or is this kind of a dull red? So more saturated is more pure, and lightness controls how light or dark that color is. And I usually don't fidget too much with light and dark and saturation, because I generally have a sense of those things, like I want a dark thing. But strictly speaking of the hue, the color, that's where I always slide back and forth, and I'm just waiting for the feeling. So usually I'll slide it, and then there'll be a large portion that is that this isn't working, that looks ugly area of the spectrum. And then there'll be a fairly large portion of, this is okay, this is kind of cool. But then there'll be a little bit where it's sort of on the edge, and it's like, geez, I don't know if that looks good or not. But what I find is that it looks interesting. There's something about it. And it's usually just one part of, like a little part of the spectrum that's just like, there's something there. And that's kind of like with this girl, for instance, the green hair. I don't know, I probably wouldn't naturally want to pick that green, but it's something where I put down the blue, and then I got that feeling of wrongness, and then I went straight to the green. And I think that just comes with practice, like the ability to know, like, oh, I think my unconscious wants this other thing, and eventually you're able to sort of see what it wants, just because you've listened to it so long that you learn the language. And the language is like physical sensations and stuff. So yeah, there's that. Now things like what I just did with the triangle highlight in the eye, that's a style thing, and that is totally, that's a thinking brain. It's something that, you know, I experimented with my style for a long time now, and this is the first painting I've done in a while where it's rendered, because if you've been following my style updates on DeviantArt, you'll see that I'm going towards a much more cel-shaded look with my stuff, and it's very drawing heavy, not much rendering to it at all. And so this was different. It was interesting. And I don't know if I'm completely satisfied with it, but I think it's okay. It's somewhat, as I said before, I keep saying the word interesting, but to me, that's a better compliment than if someone said it's pretty, or if someone said it's cool. Well, cool's okay, but pretty's okay as well, I suppose. But interesting is something, I don't know. I like it more. I respect it more when something is interesting and unique or fresh. So yeah, here I go. See what I was talking about? Sliding that hue saturation thing around. It's like trying to find the right thing and just paying attention to your body's, I don't know, reaction to things and intuition. And again, just practice that by doing drawings or paintings where you try not to place judgment on things. And what I realized is when I first started, what would happen is I would do drawings and then I would let my intuition guide me, but it would look like it's going nowhere, like it's a mess. This doesn't make sense at all. And then my thinking part would take over and say, you don't know what you're doing. Let me step in and fix this. But after a while, I realized, no, the intuition part of you, the creative part of you knows what it's doing if you just let it. So instead of getting in its way at all, what would happen is I would just let it go. And then I would start, maybe it would draw like a circle, and I'm thinking, okay, my intuition creative part wants to draw a head, and I just let it keep going. And then it does like squiggles, and I'm like, and when I say it does, it's because I'm just letting my hand go where it wants it to go. And then it turns into something, and it's like, oh wait, never mind. This is a sun, and it's an environment. Who knew? Well, the creative part of you knows. And the way of moving your hand to let the creative part take over is just move your hand in a way that when you feel relaxed, let it do that, and when it feels tense, don't. Well, that's how I do it anyway. So I don't know if this helps at all. I don't know if it's something unique to me. You can write in the comments if you have experience with intuition and what that is. Or if you don't, again, I really don't know. So anyway, hope this helped, and thanks for watching.